I'm Karwanna Dyson, and I'm from Bayview, Hunters Point. I was raised here. This is my community, and I love it here. So I came to Bayview, Hunters Point when I was little, actually. My mom moved us we migrated from the South, as a lot of families did, in the 70s, like mid-70s, I would say. I was probably about 2 or 3 when we moved here. And my godfather, who was Nate Tyner, who was a humongous leader in this community, helped us to, settle here in Bayview, Hunters Point. And so that's where I've been, my family. So we come from a large family. So my mom was a single parent of 7 of us. And when we moved here, we moved to Dedman Court, which is right in the heart of Bayview. And my auntie lived on the block. I had an uncle who lived around the corner. So we had, some family connections here. Plus we had my godfather. And so we had a lot of family here. So we had a connection with my uncle who lived around the corner and my auntie who lived on the same block as me. We all went to school here. So all of our friends grew up here. A lot of friends. We have a lot of good childhood memories. I remember playing double dutch outside and with my friends, and hopscotch and jacks and all of those wonderful activities that we had as children here that you don't see that anymore. But I have great memories here. I remember we used to, like in the 90s, I remember that's when kind of like the violence of the community started, but there were a lot of artists in the community who gave peace parties. And we used to do the peace parties at like Sundial at the top of the hill or at Martin Luther King Park, where all the hip hop artists would come and we'll talk about stop the violence. And we sang songs, and I was right there because I was an artist myself back then. I used to rap, used to be in a rap group, and then I used to sing hooks for a lot of the artists like Fly Mar and Cobra Hustlers and RBL Posse and all of them. So it was a beautiful time, just growing up in the community. So I think I would say art has always been a part of who I am. Like I remember growing up and listening to Whitney Houston. Like she was like somebody that I could see myself being. So I used to want to sing. And it wasn't until like high school that I actually was really getting into, singing out at the talent shows. And then I was on like KMEL, Battle with the Rappers. Nobody knew I could rap too, Then I became like popular because of that. So I started singing hooks for different artists and like rapping verses for different artists, local Bay Area artists. I remember I was on KMEL Battle with the Rappers, and I beat San Quinn. Now, everybody know about San Quinn. He is the hip hop legend of San Francisco, but I actually beat him on KMEL Battle with the Rappers, and that was so awesome because I began to get more and more into art back then. And so musically, when I went to college, I recorded a couple songs, I did some performances, I did some traveling, and it evolved into poetry. So I remember my first summer home from college, right? Because I was the first one in my family to go away to college and to leave the neighborhood. It was always everybody's dream to leave. When I grow up, I'm gonna get away from this because you start seeing drugs and there was a lot of violence. Even though there was a lot of great things, there was still some other things that was there. You're like, I don't really want to be in this environment. But so I evolved into a poet back in my college days, and so I wrote about the things that I saw. Even in my lyrics with hip hop and with raps, I wrote about the things that I saw in my community, but I talked about it from a positive perspective, like there is a way out. We just need to be able to open our minds, travel the world, and see that there's more to life than just 94124. And so, because music has always been a part of my life, it helped me to have an open mind. And what I would say 2 years ago, I connected with Radio Africa and Kitchen right on the corner of 3rd and Oakdale, myself and my husband, because it was an African cuisine restaurant here that many people didn't know about, even though it was here. People didn't know about it, so you didn't really get a lot of traffic there. So my husband and I partnered with the owner and was like, you know what, we want to do something arts and related to the arts culture here so that we can bring people here, let them know about great food in the community, but also provide a positive platform for expression through the arts so that we can have poets, singers, writers, hip hops, artists, authors, come and share their art, and then we'll film it for them, put them on television, give them some exposure, and give them something that they can take back and grow their own portfolios, And so we've been doing that here successfully for the past 2 years, and it's been beautiful because it's the first Tuesday that everybody look forward to, and then we completely red carpet 3rd Street. So we have red carpet, we have paparazzi, we have backdrops, and we just really make it a day where people can really feel like they're in Hollywood right here in Bayview. And so my kids, I have 3 children. My oldest is in college. I have one in high school and one in middle school. And they are all singers, writers, authors, like they perform. My kids are into like musical theater. They play instruments, and this is all just natural talent. So if you were ever to come to my house, you'll hear singing, instruments, music, you'll hear all that. But that's just who I am. I'm an artist, and I love what I do. A double Dutch rhyme that I remember, I don't know. Hey, Miss Beat, a bibbity bop, you sure look sweet. A bibbity bop, now let's get the rhythm of the pop-ups. And that's when you will jump up in the middle of, the ropes turning and everything like that. And so I call myself the double Dutch queen because I was good at it, and I can go really, really fast with double Dutch. So that's one of my my memories of playing double Dutch. And every time I get the opportunity, I do try to introduce that to like my kids and my nieces, because kids nowadays, they're stuck on social media. But I'm like, nah, let's go get some jacks. Let's get on this floor and let's play, like kids are supposed to play, because I'm still a big kid at heart myself. So now lyrically, I say, as a hip hop artist, I don't really remember any of my my rhymes. This was just so long ago, but I can sing for you guys. I can. And I'm singing something from one of my favorite artists, which is Erykah Baduism. Bag lady, you gon' hurt your back, dragging all them bags like that. I said nobody ever told you. All you must hold on to is you, is you, is you. One day they gon' say you crowding my space. I say one day they gon' say you crowding my space. Okay. Well, I'm very optimistic about the future here in Bayview Hunters Point. There's a lot of change, and people talk about gentrification that's going on, and you can see it. There's a lot of changes. And I remember, 15, 20 years ago, a lot of the foot traffic that you see in the community was not here. And so I always tell myself and my peers that change is good. You're going to either learn to be a part of the change or you're going to be left behind. So the only ones that's complaining negatively are the ones who are not trying to be a part of the change. And for me, having things like the First Tuesday spoken word is being part of the change. So it's allowing people to come and express themselves on a platform that we can actually air on television and reach, viewers, And also, I started an organization about a year ago, and I'm still developing it, but it's a nonprofit called, I got it, I remember, and I can't believe I just forgot that. But so a couple years ago, I started an organization as a nonprofit called Life Skills. The reason why I started that for this particular community is because myself, I stopped working for corporate America a long time ago because I have a lot of skills and I can't just do one thing all day. And so I learned a lot of freelance stuff. So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a videographer, I create websites, I do photography. And so all of these things, you can go out and self-employ yourself. So you talk about poverty, you talk about people being at a disadvantage. There is no excuse. In the millennium, there are a lot of things that you can do to utilize your skills to generate income. And so Life Skills is a foundation that my husband and I created to go out and teach these skills to other people to help alleviate poverty from the community. And so that's our give back to the community, because it's very important for us to show people that you don't have to wait for a job to be handed out to you. You know, I have nieces in this community. I have nephews in this community. I have children in this community. But I teach them, you know, you don't have to wait for a handout. You can go out and learn some skills, and your skills are employable. Like, you can go out and do some freelance work while you're waiting on a job if you choose to work. But, you know, I have a saying that I teach because I do workshops in the community to help empower women and help them to start businesses. I have a saying that says, if you do not build your dream, somebody will help you. Somebody else will hire you to help them build theirs. And you never know what you don't know until that moment that you say, I didn't know that. So it's important that you get engaged with the community, that you go to the community meetings, and that you be a voice for your community so you can be a part of the change. And when it comes to the 3rd Street corridor, there's a lot of businesses that used to be here. Like, I remember we had not only black barbershops, but black pharmacists, black grocery stores. You know, it was a thriving African-American community. We still have some black businesses over here, but the businesses are struggling along the 3rd Street corridor. I don't know if it's because of the blight in the community, but businesses who come here struggle. And I've worked as a consultant for the Bayview Renaissance for a few years as an independent consultant, and I worked on like the 3rd Street corridor as well on that project, just coming up with ideas of ways that we can let people know about these businesses and how you can patronize these businesses to help them, to help them stay in business. And so that's one of the biggest challenges. We haven't found the right solution yet, but together I believe we can find a solution to keep the 3rd Street corridor thriving here in the community, because it's important that, we have like economic growth in this community, and that is feeding back to people being able to maintain their residency, because a lot of people don't live here anymore because they've had to get, pushed out, had to move, rents are high, or if they get a really good job, they no longer qualify for low-income housing, and affordable housing is not affordable for us, So you have all those things going on. At the same time, you have, there's opportunities. And so you just have to figure out an opportunity for yourself and, and just take advantage of it. I remember some years ago, I did a study here. I received a grant from the Knight Foundation to do, I guess it would call a study on accessibility. So how are people able to access the internet, and is the information on the city websites accessible to them? And from the study, I found that the resources is not so easy for people to just go online and look for information and they get it. It's embedded, deeply embedded and buried. Buried, that's my countryside coming out. But deeply buried in like websites. Like the city website is crazy. Housing, well, how can you, there's no way to just go, okay, I need housing. I need something that I can afford. You'll have to click and go through this page and go through this page before you can even get the answers to what you're looking for. And so collectively, as a city, as a community, as a people, as parents, as leaders, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Not only just in Bayview, but in the city and in all communities that are considered underutilized or, disadvantaged communities. We need a lot of help, But I believe that the artists of the community could be a big voice because of the way that we express ourselves through the arts, whether it's through paint, through poetry, through music, through, statues that's in the community. Because you see a lot of development going on and you find like little beautiful art pieces, but there's a lot of people from the community who can do that art. And so one of the ideas that I thought of as an artist, and I would love to be able to do this one day. So there was a thing called the Big Five, right? These are the Westbrooks and the Expinella Jacksons and all these great women of the 70s who went and fought for the naval housing to become Bayview Hunters Point, what it is today, so that people can actually live here, right? So this legacy, the street names in Bayview Hunters Point, the Mabrys, Westbrook, Coleman, these are people who lived here, who got their names on the streets signs because of the things that they gave and contributed to the community, like Ruth Williams. We're sitting in the Ruth Williams Opera House, Bayview Opera House. That was a person, that was somebody's mom who fought to make sure the funding was here so we can run programs at Bayview Hunters Point. And so I thought it was very important, even though we're going through gentrification, to document that legacy. And I would love to be a part of that documentation, to have, okay, near the street names, maybe there's a plaque of who this person was and their connection to that street name. Because as the community changed, our history is getting lost. And so that's another reason why my husband and I have the Dear Bayview film project that we're working on, so that people can document their video letters, their letters to Bayview. What has Bayview been for you? What has it done? You know, the changes that have come. And so hopefully we'll be able to capture the legacy here in Bayview. So my take on the history of Hunters Point and why it's important to document that is because we've lost a lot of our leaders because, you know, age, natural death, or whatever. But I feel like my generation was not taught what that generation knew. You know, they knew some things. So they knew how to go to legislation and to get the votes and to make a difference in your community. We weren't taught that, and I would say my guess would be because during the 90s, that's like the big drug epidemic. 80s, 90s, crack cocaine was introduced into our community, and it destroyed a lot of families. And so the leaders who were supposed to pass it on to my generation, they just wasn't there. And so learning now some of the legacy and the history and what these people did, I feel like there's room for new leaders to rise, you know, new leaders to be the voice of Bayview Hunters Point. And if you don't take advantage of that, if you do not step up to the plate, then somebody else is going to make the decisions for this community. Somebody else is already making the decisions for the community. And my thing would be, don't sleep, you know, don't sleep on it. You need to make sure that we're staking a claim in our community that was once very beautiful, and it still can be beautiful in a different way. But if you want to be a part of that beautification of it, you have to, you know, step up and be the voice. You have to be at the city council meetings and the planning department meetings. You have to be involved in what's going on. The crazy thing I want to say is I remember going back to the study that I did about accessibility and information, and I primarily was speaking with a lot of young people in their 20s. And I was like, do you know who the district supervisor is? You know, she's an African-American woman, young, you know, Malia Cohen. They're like, no, never heard of her. Why is that? Why do we have representatives of our community who can't even communicate or connect, or the young people don't know? It's important because the young people are our next generation. So the mere fact that you don't know who your district supervisor is and is making decisions for you and all of these parks popping up in our community and stuff, and you don't have a voice, you don't even play at the park. You rather play basketball, or you rather be in a recording studio. There's a problem, right? And so we need to come together collectively, not only the leaders, the supervisors, and the people that are making decisions, but they need to be talking to the next generation who's going to be making the decisions in the future so that we can come to some real solutions. And so I just want to end with that.